welcome to Violin Adventures number 235. This week was full of adventures. Hope you enjoy. We play the Gagliano Cello for the last time.
Sound. Warm and huge and great. Feels good to play. Cool. I love it. I'll take one.
And some work on the new violin. Okay, we're starting back to work on our new violin, and I'm marking out the purfling where I want it to go in the corners. hot hide glue is ready, we can put in the center bout purfling. We take a hike around Cumberland Falls.
Want to fall off from that.
This is further down the trail. Beautiful rocks.
Time for a story. We're reading in Violins and Violinists by Franz Farga, and we're going to start chapter 18, Ludwig Spohr and the Viennese School. A marked change in the appraisal of new violin virtuosi made itself felt after Paganini's death. Critics were afraid of calling any violinist a genius. They were cautious with their praise and refused to burst into applause so easily. There was now a gauge for talent and skill. It was no use advertising a new violinist as a second Paganini. He would have to prove first that he could earn this title. Audiences sat expectantly waiting for the spell to work, ready to submit to the now demoniacal influence. But there was no more magic, no new magician, no extraordinary feat by a genius. True, many of the new violinists played with genuine emotion and great technical skill, and were rewarded with enthusiastic applause, but this enthusiasm subsided quickly as soon as the audience left the concert hall, and often there remained nothing but the somewhat uncomfortable feeling that one had been fobbed off with a substitute for the real thing. This general attitude was proof enough that Paganini had exerted a more lasting influence than some of his colleagues would admit, and that there had been more in his playing than just devilish tricks. A flaming passion which made his concerts unforgettable experiences, absolute perfection, and a technique which could not be surpassed, yet which never served him as a goal in itself. This was clearly felt by the violinists who took the platform immediately after his time. They made it a habit to pour scorn on Paganini and belittle his merits because they were unable to rise to his stature. Some, it is true, included one of Paganini's concertos in their programs, and occasionally even one of his extremely difficult variations. Such performances may have been technically perfect, but they did not enrapture the audience. Listeners sensed the sweat and toil and the slavish clinging to the written notes of the imitator behind this perfection. It was almost a circus stunt, with the constant fear that the artist might make a false step and fall into the net below. Listeners felt only too keenly that the performer did not have Paganini's complete mastery of these technical difficulties, that he was unable to add anything of his own, as Paganini had done in such rich measure at every performance. No, there was just no second Paganini. Violinists, therefore, had to be content to remain within the limits of their capabilities, and this is what the really gifted musicians did. They strove to develop their individuality and create a special field for themselves in which the efficient could occasionally achieve great things. Many of these violinists were also very talented composers who wrote fine, useful, and frequently quite effective works. One must therefore climb down a little to appreciate the post-Paganini virtuosi. But the general standard reached by the famous violinists of the 1830s to the 1890 epoch is still quite imposing. Among the German masters who had heard Paganini, Ludwig Spohr is the most important. He made a name for himself in German musical history as a violinist and composer, and his great achievements are still highly appreciated. Now there's supposed to be a picture of Ludwig Spohr. So here is a picture right here of Ludwig Spohr. So we'll stop there and we'll take up next time with Ludwig Spohr. Freddie wants to chat.
Hi, Freddie. And this week I had some fun in the creek. So, you want to see? Here it is.
So this tree fell down in the last storm, and the beavers may start building again, so we've got to get it out. So here's our funny solution.
Yes.
Yay!
Well, here we are at the creek. It's all cleaned out. In fact, we gave it a good trim. All the trees are trimmed there, so we've got a nice clear creek, and it's running.
Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
The Hebrew Minute. Hatzorim badima barina yiktsaru. Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. Or this can be a ringing cry of praise. If you know where this is found, please leave it in the comments below. Here we are, Friday afternoon, a beautiful sunny day. So here in the shop, let's see what's going on. Here's our Gagliano from the 1700s. It's all finished and ready to go. At this table, I'm just setting up some violins that needed a little bit of work. And over here is our new violin. We've got the Purfling in, but we still got to take it down. So there's the top and here's the back. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your wonderful comments, for your thumbs up, and to the new subscribers. And until next time, bye.